Hey YouTube, how's everybody doing? So it's Friday morning. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm about to go down to San Diego and take that 7-8 hour drive down to San Diego. I have a wedding down there this weekend tomorrow, so I decided to go a day early because I always wanted to do some lobster netting. So this was my opportunity to go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and head down there to San Diego, go for the wedding tomorrow. But before the wedding, I'm gonna go ahead and do some lobster netting, and see if I could do a catch and cook. So catch me out there and see how I do. Okay, so we're over here at Angler's Choice Bait and Tackle. Going to go get the lobster report card and lobster cage. Oh, I like this. How you doing today, sir?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Good, good. Hey, how you doing, man? I like your shop already. Hey, brother, can I get a lobster report card?
Yeah, they're $9.98 cash only.
Okay, and you have a lobster gauge?
Yes, we do.
I get one too. Oh, man, you're the man. Awesome, thank you. So, how's the lobster out here?
They're gonna be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, how's Ocean Beach? Ocean Pier.
Ocean Beach is like a high pier, but you can be able to catch some monsters, a lot of short ones and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. And besides that, I think that's all I really need, right? The lobster report card, huh?
Yeah. And a gauge. Yeah.
Can I ask you something? You know, a lot of people put lights on their buoy. Is that because to recognize it easier, or is it to attract the lobster?
That's more like when you're on a boat.
More on boat, right? Okay. Yeah, I'm from the Bay Area. We do a lot of Dungeness up there.
Okay.
You know, so I kind of figure lobster season for y'all down here is the same as Dungeness for us up there. That's awesome. I love this.
Is that all you need?
Yeah.
Anything else? You need like any lures up there?
I brought everything else I need. Thanks, man. So I got my lobster report card, and I got my lobster gauge. I have one in the car, but I'm gonna grab this one anyway, just in case. And yeah, we about to go out there. Got some advice from the shop crew. Awesome crew out here. So check out English Choice when y'all come out here to San Diego. And they're real cool, and the shop is really nice, man. Gave me some tips, so I'm gonna go out there and try some tips and see if I can catch some of that lobster. All right, from the Bay to San Diego. We finally made it to Ocean Beach Pier down here in San Diego. I'm about to walk down to the end of the pier. I got some advice from one of the bait shop. He told me to go all the way to the end of the pier. I was going to stay a little bit closer, but the waves are a little bit crazy. Swells about maybe 5 feet, 6 feet swells. So I'm gonna go out there a little bit further where it's not so rough. So past the waves a little bit. So I'm gonna go all the way down to the end of the pier. So it's about an hour before the sunset. Right now it's roughly about 4 o'clock. It's gonna go down about 5 o'clock. When the sunset go down, that's when they start to feed. So that's the best time to go ahead and do it. So we're gonna go walk down, take a little further walk down there, see what's up with it down there. So we're about halfway to the pier and find the regulations. So here are some of the regulations up here. All right, so I made it to the end of the pier. The sun is about to go down. Okay, so this is my gear. This is what I'm gonna use for the lobster netting. I got the hoop net. I have some salmon heads, a little bit of squid. I got my crab cage. I got my lobster report card. I'm gonna fill that out. Let's toss it down. Let's see what we can catch. So I just got the net baited. We're gonna go ahead and throw it down. Let it soak for about an hour. Let's see what we can pick. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill out my lobster report card and get it started. And hopefully let's wish for luck. All right, just in case I can't catch any lobster, I'm trying to catch some fish out here. Let's see what we got. I know they got barracudas. They have a lot of sand bass, mackerels. Put on some squid for bait. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the line. Let's see what we can catch. Let's make it happen. Everybody, there's about maybe 24 fishermen on the pier. And it's real nice weather, nice and warm. The swales is probably about 4 or 5 foot, about 4 foot swales, not too bad. The wind is probably about 5 miles an hour, so it's not too bad out here at all, and it's pretty warm. So it's roughly about 4:30 in the morning, and we're back out here at Ocean Beach Pier. We didn't do so well last night. Was out here about 7-8 hours, and there was about 10-12 people at the pier by the time I left. And let me tell you, I talked to everybody. Not one person caught anything. So I'm back out here trying to see how it does. It's 4:30 in the morning. Let's put in a couple hours, see if we can catch something. So the swells are pretty high today. It started off roughly about 5 feet, got up to about 6 feet. It's roughly about between 6 and 7 feet right now. So the swells have been pretty rough. And then commercial lobster season starts roughly a couple days after the recreational lobster season starts for everybody else. So if you want to come down here, try to catch some spiny lobster from SoCal, all the way from LA, all the way down to San Diego, I suggest you go out there and try to get a charter boat and go out there and get your limit. So with the charter boat, they're only allowed 10 nets per boat. So I think that's the reason why it's so popular, and that's why they're sold out so quickly, because they're only allowed 10 nets per boat. So it's something you have to plan ahead of time, and something you're interested in doing. I recommend it, because if you can bring home some big lobsters, let me tell you, it's definitely worth it. This is what I use for bait today. I use some mackerel, blue mackerel, and salmon head, and I have some shrimp, some squid as well. So it's about 6:30 in the morning. I let it soak for about an hour and a half. As you can see, it's pretty rough down there, so it's moving back and forth. So we're about to pull it up, see what happens. So again, this is an hour and a half soak. So after an hour and a half, nothing. Again, a lot of seaweed, a lot of kelp. Here's my bait. I got some fresh mackerel. Cut it up, soak it in. I have some squid and mackerel in there, mackerel there. So there's plenty of bait, but the swell's a little bit rough, so it's hard to stay flat on the bottom floor. I have some weights, but I don't think they're strong enough to hold this down. So we'll see. We're gonna throw it back down, let it soak a little bit more. We'll see what happens. I'm out here in San Diego at Ocean Beach Pier, trying to do some lobster netting, aka bug netting, and it's not going so well from the pier, and I talked to a lot of people, and they say that the best is to go on a kayak, on a boat, and that's the best way to catch lobsters around here. But when it comes to the pier, not so much. I've been here to the pier twice in the last 2 days. There's not that many fishermen here. The most I've seen is probably about 2 dozens, and that's just sporadic. At the pier, so give me your name again.
Robert.
Robert, how long you live out here, Robert?
I've been here for 20 years.
20 years. So, and you out here lobster netting today?
Yeah, lobster fishing.
Okay, how are you doing today?
Today it's slow so far.
A little bit slow.
Yeah,
okay.
Nocturnal in general, so.
Okay, for newbies like me, you have any recommendations?
Try around the sinks and stuff, because they are scavengers and let people clean the fish.
Okay.
It's probably the best place to start,
And you were saying, what's the best thing? What do they love to eat? Best bait?
Anything that's oily, bloody, mackerel, salmon heads. Those are probably the 2 main things.
Okay.
For fishing, yeah.
Now, with the pier, I know it's not the best on the pier. Well, what is the best way to catch lobsters around here?
I would say if you had a boat, obviously that would be the best way, because the pier being stationary, people are doing it constantly, so it's pretty picked over. Got you.
Brother, I appreciate the information. Thank you so much. Good luck out here, tight lines. If you want to go lobster netting out here in San Diego, LA, in the SoCal area, a couple things you need to know. One, you have to get you a lobster report card. They're roughly about $10, a little bit less, depending on where you go. Lobster report card looks like this. So this is what the lobster report card looks like, and what you fill out is pretty much the month, the day, the location, the equipment you're using, and how many you catch. and they have codes for everything. So you just put the code down. So make sure you have your lobster report card. That's one. Another thing you need to have when you're out here, you have to have a lobster gauge. So make sure you go get your lobster gauge, roughly about $5, and they look like this. So a lobster has to be 3 1/4 inch long from there to there. So pretty much that's what you get, 3 1/4 inch long. So the size limit is 3 1/4 from in between the eyes all the way down to the end of the head. Take a look here. This is how you measure a spiny lobster, and make sure you know how to do it correctly so that way you don't undersize anything. Anything undersized you definitely want to throw back, okay? The spiny lobster population hasn't been doing so well in the last decade or so. In 2008 they started a mandatory lobster report card in order to try to regulate it a little bit more. Come out here, you're only allowed to use nets. You're not allowed to use traps, cages, snares. You're not allowed to use hooks. You're not allowed to use any of that. The only thing you're allowed to use are nets. So when you come out here lobster netting, make sure you use nets only, okay? Commercial lobstermen, they're allowed to use traps and cages because they're commercial. They do that for a living. They depend on it for survival in their living. So they're allowed to use different regulations and so forth. But keep in mind, no matter what people tell you, don't come out here and use traps and so forth. Make sure you only use nets, okay? The recreational bag limit for any lobsters is 7 lobsters in possession. Now that's not 7 lobsters per day per person like we have in North Cal when we have 10 dungeons per day per person. In SoCal, when you do lobster netting, you only allow 7 in possession, including at home. So if you have 7 in your fridge, technically you're not supposed to have any more than 7 within your possession. But so when you fish from any public pier or jetty, you don't need a fisherman's license, and you don't need an ocean enhancement validation either. When you're fishing from any public pier or jetty, you only allow 2 nets or 2 poles at any given time. So make sure you only have 2 items out at any given time. Right now I have 1 net down for a spiny lobster, and I have my pole out trying to catch some fish that's around here like barracudas, sand bass, mackerel. So whatever there's out here, I'm trying to see if I can catch one as well while I'm doing the spiny lobster. Before coming down here, what I try to do is I looked up for charters to try to go ahead and go out there and do some spiny lobster on a boat. But all the good charters and all with the ones with the good reviews that I checked out, it's so crazy busy that they're booked up to next year. So, you know, down here in SoCal, lobster season, it's like Dungeness season for us North Cal fishermen. The way we anticipate Dungeness season, it's the same way that they anticipate lobster season down here. So that's pretty interesting. You know, I like that. And that's the reason why I wanted to come here and try out spiny lobster and see how it does out here. So for my research that I looked into and talked to some people around here, you know, when you go on a boat or jetty, the best places are around rocky areas and places they can hide. Lobsters, you know, they like to hide during the daytime and stay away from predators. At nighttime, when the sun comes down, they tend to come out, and that's when they start to eat at nighttime and so forth. And they love fish. You know, they're not too picky, but they like fish around here a lot better. Best recommendation, you know, come about an hour before sunset, soak your bait, let the scent spread out, and then when it turns into nighttime, when it gets dark, that's when they come out and feed. Okay, so 7 o'clock. I let it soak for about half an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up, see what happens. So this is my second pull up, and nothing. Still a lot of kelp, a lot of seaweed. The bait, it doesn't look like it even been touched. So it's still rough down there. All right, a couple more hours. We're gonna do this for another 2 hours. Let's see. Your spiny lobster report card, regardless if you catch any lobster or not, you have to submit your report card by the end of April to the fishing game. 2 ways to do it. You can either submit it online or you can mail in your report card. But either way, make sure you do it. Otherwise, the next time you get a spiny lobster report card, they're gonna charge you an extra $22 on top of it. So remember to submit your report card by the end of April, okay? Just pulled up a stingray. Took a look at this little man right here. Just pulled him up. So got that with the sinker at the bottom. I got 4 ounce at the bottom because the swell's a little bit heavy, and that's a beauty. That's a beauty right there. And that's the only thing I caught so far. So we'll see. I got the hook out of him. I'm not sure what type of species this is, so I'm gonna have to go back and do some research and find out. But it looks like it's a part of the stingray family. It's definitely spiky along the back here. His tail's pretty soft, so let's throw him back. Hey, it's a nice day out here in the pier. You know, we're out here in San Diego trying to catch some spiny lobsters and trying to do a little bit of fishing. We're out here, and not many fishermen out here on the pier, and not many people are bug netting either. So we'll see what's going on. We've been here for about 2 hours. This is the second day. We didn't catch anything the first day, so we're gonna stay out here for another 2 hours and see what we can catch. Even though we're not catching much lobster on the pier, there are lobsters around. There's a bunch of pods and cages that's lined up all along, roughly about 100 to 200 yards out. And as you can see, there's one boat right there picking up his traps and nets. So they're out here. Just not sure why we're not picking up any on the pier. You know, so we're gonna keep trying for another hour or so. All right, so it's about 8:30. I let it soak for about another hour. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up. This is gonna be my last pull up before we head out of here. Let's see what happens. All right, so strike 3, I'm going home. That's it. And the bait, let me tell you, I don't see a mark on it. Nothing. So the bait hasn't been touched at all. It was a good try. I had fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and pack up and get out of here. Here's how we did today. So we was out here for like 4 hours. 4 hours, pulled it up 3 times, still got nothing and so forth, but it's good. The only thing we caught was a stingray, threw it back, CPR. So that's how it is. Lobster netting on the pier, not so well, doesn't do so well out here. If you decide to do some lobster netting in SoCal, try to avoid the piers, charter a boat, see if you can get a kayak, and you should be good to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go ahead and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Until next time, peace out.